Get ready for a fall-inspired Dollar Tree DIY you'll love so much you won't even believe I made it for less than $2. And as always, DIY treats. Welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. Hi guys, it's Aneka and welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. So today I have a fall DIY for you. I know I told you guys in the last video about how I grew up in Florida and everything was green all the time, and once I moved to the Midwest and saw fall for the first time and saw the changing of the leaves like in person instead of on TV, I was hooked. It is one of my favorite parts of fall, and I just wanted to do a DIY with some of those colors and some of that vibe, so I really hope you enjoy it. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everyone, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. And when this video is over, give it a thumbs up and head down to the comments and let me know, are you pro pumpkin spice or anti pumpkin spice? I think that's an argument that I'm willing to get into any day and argue my point that pumpkin spice is really like the only spice combination that matters in the fall. I love it that much. Also, don't forget to find me on Facebook, Instagram. I even have some pins on Pinterest, and show me the crafts that you've been doing. I love to see what you guys are working on. Okay guys, it's time to craft. So I'm going to start out with this calendar that I love. I love the florals on it and the positive sayings in it. And at first I wasn't sure which one I wanted to go with because all of them were so pretty, but in the end I ended up trying to go with this lighter fall themed pattern that says thankful and blessed. Now, as you'll see, this DIY did not go the way I wanted it to, but that's okay. It still turned out really beautifully. You could also use this same technique with the farmer's market calendar that is so popular right now. It would be adorable with this craft. So I'm going to cut out the picture that I want, and then I'm going to use this Dollar Tree sign that I found that is the perfect size to fit right with this calendar page. Of course, if you don't have that, you could use some foam core board or any piece of wood or cardboard that you have. Now, I think my error was in trying to use Mod Podge to glue this on. Maybe I used too much, I'm not sure, but it wrinkled horribly, you guys. I cannot get it to lay down flat. If you have any tips or tricks for gluing things like this on, please leave them down in the comments. I will pin it so other people don't have to go through the frustration that I did. I do think that maybe a glue stick would have done better than the Mod Podge, but I'm not sure. Help me out down in the comments. Now, each individual page of the calendar was actually a pretty thin piece of paper, but after the frustration of the Mod Podge incident, I ended up just cutting off the front cover, which was a lot thicker, and then I went ahead and used the Mod Podge, glued that on, and it did work very well. I didn't have a glue stick at my house to test out my theory that it would have done better with those thinner inside pages of the calendar, but I think that it would work and it's definitely worth a try. Next, I got some of these craft sticks, and I'm just going to start by snipping off the rounded ends on either side of each craft stick. Now, this package came from Dollar Tree and had 100 craft sticks in it. I did about half of the package, and then I snipped each one of those either in half or I cut off 1/3. I tried to do it in irregular lengths because I thought this would give the final project a little bit more character. Now, I did end up having a ton of extra, so you could probably just do 20 or 25 craft sticks and it would be fine. But it's part of what I love about this DIY. It is super affordable, and I didn't use the entire package of anything that I bought, so that means I can make a lot more. Now, I'm just using the pieces of the craft stick and I'm going all along the edge to create a frame. I decided to go up to the top and then I stopped just short and I started to do the next side. This way I could measure out exactly how much I needed to use to get to the edge without overlapping on the corners of my frame. I just used a little bit of hot glue to glue it on there, and I thought 2 or 3 deep would be nice. For this pattern that I ended up using, I just decided to do a row of 2. That way I wouldn't cover up the beautiful flowers that were all along the outside of the picture. And as I went along, I just used another craft stick and I pressed it against the stick that I was gluing and the edge of the picture to make sure everything was flush. When I got to that last little bit, I just kind of eyeballed it, measured out how much I needed, and I cut it with scissors so that I could fit that last little piece in there. And that way everything fit together so nicely, and it actually looks pretty custom made because each craft stick just lays so nicely with the one next to it. Now I'm going to do the same thing all around the outer edge of the picture. Once that was finished, I realized that I wanted a more finished look on the edge of my picture. So I used the remaining craft sticks, I turned my picture over, and I glued some perpendicular to the frame, and this way it looked like an actual frame was on the picture instead of just sticks glued on the outside of it. Now, I just didn't have a picture frame that was this exact size, but you could use this same technique using these craft sticks and gluing them on in the same fashion to an actual frame. That way you could switch out the picture whenever you wanted and you would still have a really beautiful frame to use all year round. However, I just did not have a frame this exact size, so I opted to just glue the craft sticks directly onto the picture. I continued around with my frame all the way around all the edges. And when I was done, I had this beautiful looking frame. Now, for this next step, I decided to use a little bit of painter's tape to tape off my picture, and I'll show you why in a moment. I love using craft sticks and paint stirring sticks to create a really beautiful look. In another DIY, I used large craft sticks to make this beautiful farmhouse tray, and you would never guess that I made it using craft sticks. I'll link that down in the description box below in case you want to check out how I made it. But I was watching another DIYer, his name is Justin Ray, and he had a technique to make these craft sticks look like bamboo, so I thought I would try it. So I got some light spackling, also from Dollar Tree, and I mixed it up, and I'm just going to use my finger to rub it all over the edge of my frame. Now I'm making sure to get a good amount of spackling into every hole, every crevice, right where all of the sticks meet. There should be just a little opening because I did not cut everything exactly straight, and that's exactly where we want all the spackling to go into. You can do a nice thick layer just to make sure that you get everything covered. Then I set it to dry, and in about 30 minutes everything was hardened. I was able to use a pencil, or you could use a pen or anything you want, just to scrape away any of the extra spackling that's dried on there. And then I'm going to come back through and sand it down. Now I want to make sure that this looks nice and smooth and that any lumps and bumps have been smoothed out. Next, I'm going to use some wood stain in the color Puritan Pine. Of course, you could use any color that you'd like to make this look fit in with the decor in your house. And I'm just going to paint on a layer of that. I did end up doing 2 coats before everything was finished, but I'm going to make sure that I get all the edges inside and outside and all over all of my craft sticks. After I finished my second coat, that was it. I was all done. I love how this came out. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It looks just like bamboo, and the possibilities are endless with this technique. And the calendar, the craft sticks, and the spackling all have plenty left over, so I can do a lot more crafting with it. This is a really beautiful and affordable DIY. So even though this DIY didn't come out the way I imagined it, I think it It's beautiful. I love the way that faux bamboo plays with that black background in the picture. I think it would be perfect for a modern farmhouse or modern boho type fall decoration scheme in your house, and I couldn't be happier with how it came out. And you guys, you can make a ton of these for a really reasonable price and they would make great gifts. The one I made was less than $2 to put together, and you can't beat that. So for today's treat, I have something that I made for my daughter a lot last fall. She absolutely loved it. It was really quick to put together, but it's got just a great seasonal theme and it has cheese, which means I'm in. Once you say melted cheese, that's all I need to hear. So it's time to eat. We're gonna make a quick and easy candy corn quesadilla. I'm using refried beans inside of mine. You can use whatever you want in yours. I'm going to take my tortillas and I'm just going to cut it into the shape of a triangle. I like to put them together first just to make sure they match up really nicely. And there's lots of hungry little hands on the side ready to eat all these extra scraps, so they did not go to waste. Next, I'm going to take some white cheddar cheese and I'm going to put it right at the tip of my triangles. After that, I'm going to get some regular cheddar cheese. You can either get sharp or medium, either one will do. The idea is to have this dark orange color for your quesadilla. And last, I'm going to use some Tillamook cheese. Now, I can only find this in my area in blocks, so I had to just cut off some blocks, but it's a little bit lighter than what you would get in the cheddar cheese, so it goes perfectly with this candy corn quesadilla. After I have them all laid on top of my tortilla shell, I'm just going to cut right along the outline of my triangle that I already had cut and cut off all that extra cheese. And once again, I have little hungry children who would love to eat all the cheesy scraps from this DIY treat. Once I have that all trimmed up, I'm going to put it on a baking sheet lined with tin foil or parchment paper. I'm going to put it in the oven at about 300 degrees and only for a few minutes. You want to watch this, guys, because you want it to melt slightly, but you don't want it to fall off. And once it's nice and melty, you have this delicious, cheesy, melty candy corn quesadilla. It's so easy, so festive, and so fun for the fall season. I hope you enjoyed this DIY that I had for you today. Let me know down in the comments, what are your feelings on pumpkin spice? Delicious or overrated? Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I'll see you next time when we repeat it all again.